You're about to enter into a new world of knowledge, curiosities, and high strangeness. This is a podcast of Straight Up Strange Productions. This episode is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. Become a patron today at patreon.com/intotheportal.
Hello, and welcome back into the portal. I'm Amber A.
And I'm Andrew McKay.
And we are back with round 2 of Into the Trivia.
Ding, ding, ding.
Woo!
It sounded like you're introing a boxing match there. Round 2.
We're keeping it high energy this week. We're going to keep it rolling for you guys. We've got 2 more episodes. We're counting down. So this week we're on to number 8 and number 7.
Oh,
Woo!
yeah.
And we're getting full-on competition for you guys.
That's right. Yeah, this is a versus. It's a matched episode.
It is. In one corner, we've got Elisa Lam.
That's right.
In the other corner, we have got Pendek.
That's right. So
they're going to duke it out.
I mean, I honestly would want to even hear almost do shout out to the No Dunks podcast. Do a pick 'em payoff. Whoever loses, maybe you guys could throw out some ideas for whatever the loser has to do on the show or something like that. Or we could get creative with this. I'm excited. I'm excited about these 2 topics today, though.
I am too. And ironically enough, when we originally did both of these episodes, it was almost flipped. So it's kind of ironic that I'm asking you questions about Elisa Lam, since I did most of the research for that one. And you're asking me questions about Pendek, which you did most of the research for. So We're both kind of flying blind here.
A little bit.
Flying off the seat of our pants and the few memories that I retain.
The memories of our pants. Yeah. I will say, though, that these were 2 of my favorite episodes we've done.
There's a reason they're in the top 10.
Very true. Well,
let's get into it.
All right.
Okay. So we are starting off with number 8, the mysterious case of Elisa Lam. I've got 10 questions for Andrew. We've got some true and false. We've got some multiple choice. We've got some A and B's. We're going to start off with an easy one for you. Okay. Number 1. Elisa was a young student from the Vancouver area at the time of her untimely demise. However, at the time, she was traveling abroad in the US. So 2 points here. Which city and hotel did Elisa end up in at the time of her death?
Yeah, you did team me up with an easy one here. So I'll just pause for a second for the listeners to do it themselves. All right. So she went on a trip to Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And she stayed at the infamous Cecil Hotel. I can remember the image, the picture of this outside facade of this hotel.
Good one. Okay. Well, we're starting off easy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Question 2. Elisa Lam, like many young women, experienced a lot of stress and anxieties in her life. Things which led her to use what as a positive coping mechanism?
So, if my memory serves me correctly, she was pretty heavily involved with social media. So she blogged. She was a blogger. She would write to try to vent, I think was the...
Do you remember the specific platform she used?
Ooh, good question. I feel like she was a blogger. I'm gonna say Tumblr.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
Got the point. Number 3. In that blog, Elisa would often quote other bloggers or writers. At the top of her blog, there is a quote from which author?
Ooh. You kind of I think in that question you're trying to trick me, an author, a blog author or an author, a quote, okay.
An actual author.
Man. Oh. It's on the tip of my tongue. Actually, no, it's not. That's a lie, everybody.
This one's a little tougher.
I don't know why. This is so incorrect. I have no idea what the quote is. I'm going to just toss out an author name. I'm going to say that for some reason my brain's going to J.K. Rowling.
Oh, no, actually. This one's a little bit, a little more rough and tumble. Chuck Palahniuk.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It was the quote, "You are always haunted by the idea you're wasting your life."
Okay, I remember that now.
Yes.
What an
Yes.
ominous thing to have at the...
I know.
pinned
And this
to
was
the top.
obviously a general theme in Elisa's blog. She seems to have been haunted by this idea of wasting her time, her life, not accomplishing enough in the present. Another pretty relatable feeling for a lot of people, but
Yeah.
this seemed to just, preoccupy her for most of her youth. Okay, so no point there. Okay.
Wah, wah, wah.
All right. Number 4. Elisa found her way to the seedy Cecil Hotel just off of LA's Skid Row neighborhood. This particular hotel had a colorful history in LA. It was built in the 1920s, and by the 1950s, the numerous questionable deaths in the Cecil earned it which sordid nickname?
I thought you were going to ask me a different question there. I was teed up. I had the answer ready.
What was your answer?
Well, I'm going to save it because I feel like you might still ask it.
Okay.
But oh man, the nickname, like the Devil's Den or something.
It's
or
pretty
like
badass. It's like
Devil's Doorway. I can't remember.
It's called the Suicide. There was a lot of unfortunate deaths. A lot of them were kind of mysterious. Like there was, I think, like a starlet that, and it was actually kind of loosely associated with the Black Dahlia murders.
That was
but
the
it's
answer
kind of
I had teed up.
Oh, okay. It was
Yeah.
kind of a misnomer, though. I think it was a different bar, or it might have been the same bar in the Cecil. I'm not sure. Anyways, number 5.
Doo-doo-doo.
Elisa disappeared on the 31st of January, 3 days after she had checked into the Cecil Hotel. Elisa's body was discovered in the hotel water tank by a maintenance worker after how many days?
Okay. It was a good chunk of time, if I remember correctly. I believe it was... My mind is going to, 11 days.
It was actually the 19th.
Oh, so that was a long time.
Yes.
Damn.
So no points for number 5. Number 6. The elevator footage was perhaps the most tantalizing piece of evidence in the investigation into Elisa Lam's tragic death, and it is also the site of the last known footage of Elisa alive. Which of these facts about the elevator footage was not something we discussed during the episode?
Okay.
Okay, so A, this is an A, B, C, or D. A, the elevator was known to be a shared amenity between the short-term hotel guests and long-term residents. B, the footage timestamp was altered to be unreadable. C, the footage appeared to be slowed down or tampered with. Or D, in the footage, Elisa appears to be conversing with someone whose foot appears in the corner of one of the shots.
Oh man, I feel like we talked about all that stuff. What was option A? What was the first option again? A?
The elevator was known to be a shared amenity between short-term hotel guests and long-term residents.
I'm going to say A.
We didn't discuss that?
I know we discussed the building, but I don't remember if the elevator was
This
shared.
is kind of a trick question. It's actually D.
Okay.
So in the footage, Elisa does appear to be conversing with someone, but their foot does not appear in the corner of one of the shots.
I should have picked up on that.
Yeah.
That was just an Easter egg waiting to get... Oh my god.
Yes.
I'm embarrassed right now.
Yes.
Yes, you say yes.
Yes,
You
I
should be
know.
embarrassed right now.
You should be. No, it was definitely like a little.
Damn it.
That was a little Easter egg.
I
threw
hope
in there.
everyone listen. I'm sure most of you listening caught that. Okay.
All right, true or false? The police investigation. So the police released the elevator footage on February 14th, 2 weeks after Elisa was last seen.
I'm going to say true.
Yeah, I kind of gave that away.
Well, I appreciate it because I botched the last one. So
Yeah,
I honestly, that was one of the most significant parts of the story to me was that.
And it took them a while, right? Because It did tie into when she was actually supposed to check out of the hotel, which kick-started the police investigation when the hotel staff alerted them. But yeah, it was February 14th, elevator footage released. February 19th, residents start complaining about the water. And that's when that poor security guard went up and discovered the remains.
Yikes.
Yes, very scary.
Could you imagine drinking that water? I mean, we talked about that in the episode, but it's just like, I mean, everyone think about that for a second. I mean, oh dear.
And you can't undrink it. And when how would you ever trust any water source ever again? I would literally have to have my own water tanks that I can see and go check on whenever I want.
I'd rather just go stand outside with a cup when it's raining. You know where it's coming from.
There you go.
But after that, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, number 8, Rooftop Logistics. So how many access points to the roof were there at the time of Elisa's death?
So I think there was, I remember there only being like 2. There was a fire stairwell of some kind, and then there was like an employee access point that wasn't locked or something like that. I'm gonna say 2.
Okay, yeah, so there was actually 4, so you got 2 out of 4. Get a half point.
Okay. Oh wow, that's generous.
4, because there was 3 fire escapes and then a locked rooftop door, which was an employee access only.
3 fire escapes.
And was supposed to signal an alarm when opened. However, all of these were officially restricted, but when we were recording this episode, we discussed this Chinese YouTuber that we discovered who actually proved it was very easy to access the rooftop. This was literally 1 month after Elisa's death. So not a very secure location. If you have the will, you can find a way, is kind of what it appeared to be.
So, okay, my memory was partially correct there, I suppose.
That being said, though,
okay,
the case file fact remains that to this day, no one knows how Lam got up there. No one knows how she got access.
Yeah, that's the weird part. And that it would have been really difficult for someone to get, leverage the body up into the tank after having, even after it being on the roof in the first place. There's a lot of...
That was exactly it. It was like getting her into the water tank. Either her doing it by herself would have been pretty tricky because it was pretty tall. And then the other point we talked about was once she was inside the tank, judging from the level of water, which was fluctuating, right, based on the usage, but it was supposed that she wouldn't even be able to reach the latch to like close it behind her. That, and also the fact that she was found fully unclothed with clothing in the tank with her.
Right.
And the clothing, when it was closely examined, actually had like silica particulates on it that were from the roof. So it was essentially the case that she had taken her clothes off, thrown them on the ground, got inside the tank with her clothes in her hands, if she was doing this all by herself.
Right.
And then thrown them in the tank with her. Immediately what I think of, because I've seen so many CSIs and whatever else, and I just thought that's the first thing you do when you're trying to eliminate evidence, right? You throw things in water, because water destroys a lot.
Well, and that's all you have around there.
Yeah, so a lot of it doesn't add up. And the other thing, too, is like if she was intentional on suicide, why would she have gone into the tank to drown herself when she could have thrown herself off the roof? Would have been pretty...
Indeed.
Yeah, would have been a lot more convenient. But anyway, there's a lot about this episode that once you start digging into it again, it's like, man, we should do another one.
I know, right? More true crime.
Anyways, yeah. Okay, so we got number 9 here. Elisa's mental state. Okay, so I'm giving credit to Emily.
All right.
Because she helped me formulate this question. Okay. So many have supposed that Elisa's death was a result of mental health issues and medication complications or side effects. Which of these was not proposed as evidence of a mental breakdown or side effect leading to Elisa's death? Okay, so it's A, B, C, or D. A. Strange mannerisms such as the cracking of joints, wrists, knuckles, etc. B. Repeatedly entering and exiting the elevator, pushing all the buttons, talking to people that aren't seen, etc. C. A noticeable repeating right-leaning head twitch. Or D. Walking/moving in right angles.
That I remember so distinctly, the walking in right angles. It's either A or C. I'm going to say C.
You're right, yeah. That was funny. Me and Em, we were trying to come up with something, and I was like, oh, what if it was like the night of the Roxbury head twitch? Let's go with that.
I like that. That's a good, yeah.
But it was kind of interesting, too, because all of those things that I just mentioned appear stranger because the footage was tampered with and sped up. So if you had it at actual time, they would have appeared to be a little bit more like normal seeming.
That's so bizarre.
Anyways,
The speeding up of the footage and just...
Why? And why was it released so late? Like, I understand the police weren't directly involved in the investigation until they were alerted by hotel staff when Elisa didn't check out. But it just seems like either some people propose that they were like protecting someone.
I don't know. I can't remember what my theories were. I'd have to go back and listen. But you just, kind of giving me some details again right now just makes me think that it had to have been a hotel staff.
We did discuss that because they would have had access. They could have had access to the footage. They could have access to the rooftop.
And a lot of people to blame it on.
And they could have been watching her for a couple of days because this didn't happen. And she was in that tank for at least a week, they said.
But of course, they would have investigated hotel staff, and there was nothing that.
And the residents, too. The residents, that was another big one, because there was a serial killer that was living there at the time. Or not a serial killer, but he was like a convicted murderer, rapist, or something like that. But, anyways.
Really nice stuff.
Great community. Sharing an elevator with those guys? Oh
yeah. That's an experience, you want the authentic. Whatever.
But that was the odd part too that we talked about. It's like, why was Elisa staying in this hotel? And on closer investigation, there was this like new ad campaign that the hotel had put out just months prior to Elisa staying there that was advertising all these things that millennials and
I remember that,
people of our generation would like Wi-Fi and like like a lounge, and it was just like updated kind of thing and cheap.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I've got the last question here.
Okay.
Going to the paranormal angle. Question 10. In the course of discussing theories, we touched on the idea that the Cecil Hotel, or the suicide, is a potential hotspot for paranormal activity due to its illustrious history. Which notorious serial killer was proposed as a possible spirit that possessed Elisa on the night of her untimely death?
Did you already give me this answer earlier?
No.
I just want to, because my mind goes to the Black Dahlia.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the answer?
No.
Okay, let me think. Okay. Then give me one more second here to at least guess. It's got to be obviously a famous LA, California-based serial killer.
I think... I don't even know what hint to give you, really. But
I guarantee most people listening are screaming the answer. Especially all of our true crime.
Let's just say, Andrew, true crime isn't really your...
I'm more of a historical mystery. I like my maritime mystery. Shout out to Scott Philbrook on that one.
I thought you were going to shout out that Rob joke. Guy from...
Oh, yeah, from that Mighty Ships show we've been watching. Yeah, that's a good show, too. I do not know.
It's Richard Ramirez.
Oh, my God.
I know.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so you got question 9 right. You got question 10 wrong. The thing is, though, that I will explain here. So essentially, he couldn't have possessed Elisa that night. Do you remember why? This is a bonus. Maybe you can make up for this.
Oh, man. No, I don't. I do not remember why. I definitely remember there being something weird about that, though. Oh, man. You just got me on pins and needles.
It's because he's still alive. He was still alive. He was alive at the time of her death. He actually died of lymphoma on death row June 7th, 2013. So a few months after.
Right, so very shortly after. Oh, okay. Because that was the conspiracy sort of peddled a few years later on, I guess, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. She was having a seance with the devil and then Richard Ramirez. Yeah, anyways.
Ah, well, maybe he was still telepathically communicating right before his death row execution. Yeah, no.
Yeah, there were so many things that I could have included in this 10 questions.
You did. I mean, that was... I kind of knew I wasn't going to do great heading into it. Because you guys, I mean, just so you guys know, too, like, we're not reviewing our notes before we do this to, like, have a little cheat sheet or anything like that. It's straight up, like, episodes from over a year ago. Mm-hmm. That... Well,
some of them aren't. But some of them within the last year.
Yeah. Elisa Lam was definitely over a year ago. For sure.
Yes, that was quite a while ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway. Are you ready for your round? Oh, I guess I need my score. I don't even, well, I need it. I don't really want it, though.
Out of a possible 11 points, you got 5.5.
That's a pass. That's a pass.
It's a pass. It's
Oh,
a pass.
dear.
All right, passing over the scoreboard.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm in for. I'm going to sound like an idiot.
I don't think so. I think you'll do okay. I tried to, it's
Trying
not
to be
really
fair.
It's not. I try to be fair, and it's not in any particular order in terms of difficulty this time. Like last week, I tried to do sort of in increasing difficulty.
Okay.
Let's get into it though. So this episode we're covering on this part here is of course the orang pendek. So I've got the little description here without giving away any answers. So hidden deep within the dense jungles of a particular island in Indonesia, there's an ancient creature said to walk bipedally like a human, long arms, broad shoulders, a prehistoric throwback, you might say. Okay? So number 1, the name orang pendek is a mashup of Indonesian language dialects. So for 2 points on this first question, what does orang pendek translate to? And what is the creature's colloquial name in cryptozoology? So first one, what? So there's a name, there's a term for the creature, but the name orang pendek translates to something specifically. So the first part of the question, what does orang pendek translate to?
I want to say just like the little man of the forest.
So that's part 2.
Like the forest man. Okay, so that's the cool.
That's the little man of the forest.
The
So ding ding
colloquial
ding.
name. Sorry guys, I have a frog in my throat. But it would be like, because I'm thinking orangutan, so it's like orang, so that's like man, monkey.
So you got 1
woods.
and a 2. It's okay. So it's small person or little person. I mean, I'll give you like a
Kinda
0.5 there.
Almost like Menahune.
Yeah, very similar to Menahune. And then, of course, Little Man of the Forest is the name in cryptozoology, sort of the colloquial reference to it.
Yeah, these
Okay.
guys, they always reminded me of lemurs.
You're off to a good start.
Decent enough.
They do kind of look like lemurs a little bit, don't they? Okay, number 2. There's a lot of islands that make up the Indonesian chain. Which island in Indonesia is said to be home of the orang pendek?
I feel like the answer I have in my head is like, I feel like it's the neighboring. I'm gonna say Sumatra.
Indeed.
Okay,
It
sweet.
is.
Okay.
Sumatra. Nice.
I feel like there was another smaller one, even like right beside it. Am I misremembering?
There's another very specific place associated with the creature. So that'll come up again, but
Okay.
so far you're doing really good.
Okay, I'm gonna think on that one.
I feel like you just came up with some really hard questions for Elisa Lam, and you're probably just going to get like 15 out of 15 for my questions here, but that's okay.
I didn't come up with harder questions. Really?
No. Okay, you ready?
We'll see.
All right, number 3. Despite deforestation, Sumatra is still a great place for orang pendek to hide amongst the brush on this massive island. But just how much territory does orang pendek have compared to other islands? So this is a multiple choice question.
Okay.
So A, Sumatra is the 4th largest island in the world. B, the 7th largest island in the world. C, the 6th largest island in the world. Or D, it is the largest island in the world. That isn't a continent.
Oh, okay. I'm like, wait a second. What about Britain? There's a lot of islands out there, man.
Britain is definitely up there as one of the largest islands in the world.
Was 7th one of the options?
4th, 7th, 6th, or 1st?
I'm gonna go with like number 7. Aw,
So Sumatra is actually the 6th largest
shoot.
island in
I
the
was
world.
gonna say that.
Oh, were ya? That was your second option?
No.
Nice. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Number 4. In particular, there's one location on the island of Sumatra that is known for orang pendek sightings. What famous place is this?
I feel like it was the entire island is a volcano. I feel like it was like a park within Sumatra.
So you're on to something. So it's a specific kind of famous place within. I mean, it's a national park, and there's one specific place.
I'm thinking, I'm like Vesuvio or Nan Madol, and none of those are right.
Well, you're onto something with that first sort of inkling.
Pendek.
So the location is Mount Carinci.
Oh.
So it's the Carinci National Park and Mount Carinci, which
right.
is like 12,000 meters above sea
You
level
don't think
or
that's
something.
hard?
Oh, well, I'm glad because I thought you would, I just thought it would pop into your head. So
Carinci.
nice.
How the hell? Unless it's Mount Fuji, I'm not going to get it.
All right. Feeling pretty good about these questions, everybody. How are you guys doing? I wonder how everyone out there is doing.
Yeah,
All right.
what's your score so far?
Yeah. Shoot us a DM or tweet at us or something. Okay. Number 5. Maybe I did make these really hard. Okay. Some early accounts of the Orang Pendek date back hundreds of years from travelers and explorers alike. Who was one of the earliest men to report seeing an Orang Pendek? Was it A, Sir Francis Drake in the 16th century, B, Christopher Columbus in 1488, C, Alexander the Great in 320 BCE, D, Marco Polo in the 13th century, or E, Zheng He in the 15th century?
I'm going to go Marco Polo. Okay.
Yeah, I knew you'd remember that one.
I was very tempted with Drake, though, because of that, again, that guy, Rob.
Yeah, we
He's on-
recently watched.
The ship dude.
We are going to cover the story of Sir Francis Drake. That is a really cool
I feel kind of sad. I can't remember his
piracy
last
story.
name.
I want to say
like-
Rob Chapman, but that's my sister's
I was
significant
thinking-
other. So I,
What about Rob Archibald? Who's that?
let's
Someone.
just go with that. That's got to be his name. But yeah, no, it was Marco Polo. So when he visited Sumatra in 1292, the locals, as the stories go, gave him the body of a small ape-like man to show him who lives amongst them in the forest. And then another version says that Polo was just told stories about the creature, and then after that he sighted one himself. So
Very cool.
there you go. Okay, number 6. So there are many researchers, photographers, and cryptozoologists that have seen the Orang Pendek. But in the 1980s and 90s, there was one prominent character in the Orang Pendek story in particular who claimed to have multiple encounters with the creature. This person even had a famous quote that we referenced on the show. For 2 points, what was the name of this person/researcher, and what is their now noteworthy quote on the creature from the 1980s and 90s?
Well, I'm trying to put on my cryptozoologist hat.
I'll give you kind of a hint. Think to the Monster Quest episode on Orang Pendek that we watched. And there was sort of a select few characters on that episode.
I can see one dude's face in my head, and I don't know what his name is, but I wonder if it was Mark Hall. It was that guy that was like, he's from our neck of the woods, if I'm not mistaken.
Think about the quote, though. Think about the noteworthy quote on the creature.
He melts into the woods.
That was definitely... was that one of them? That Something similar to that. Melts
The
into
Orang
trees.
Pendek, if he stops, he disappears. You don't see him.
You're wrong, so do you want to keep guessing?
No.
I'll give you a hint. It's not a dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, I feel like you'll shake your head when I give you the answer. So this researcher
What
from
was
the
it?
80s and 90s was Debbie Martyr, who first visited Sumatra in 1989, travel
Who the
writer.
hell is Debbie Martyr?
She was one of the most, we talked about her a lot. She was like
A year ago.
She was like 2.5 pages of notes in this episode. And her quote was, seeing the creature was like seeing something on the wrong side of time.
What a beautiful quote.
I thought so.
I would never remember.
All right. Nice. So that was like a bonus point though. So you just got one wrong there.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm enjoying these. Okay. This one I feel like you'll get for sure.
Then just watch it.
All right. So number 7, there are many species unique to the island and to the area of Carinci, and some of these animals and their footprints can be misidentified as the Orang Pendek. What is the most common animal misidentified as Orang Pendek around Mount Carinci? Don't be fooled by what you might think is the obvious answer. What creature did we talk about?
Well, I would say orangutan.
And that's the trick.
Yeah, I know. So
So-
what is it?
So no, come
A
on.
deer, an antelope?
Come on. We talked about so like
a child.
You're not even trying anymore.
What? No, I am trying. What do you
You want some more hints? I mean, think about like for Sasquatch sightings in North America, there's a particular creature where their footprints could be misidentified.
Bear, a panda.
Okay, that's a big fat 0 for Amber on that one.
No, what about the cute little red pandas? What about those guys?
Okay,
a
there's
lemur. How about a lemur?
Okay, so wrong. 0. First of all, there's no pandas in Indonesia. First of all,
there is.
No, there isn't. And second of
In
all,
my head,
okay,
is.
so there is a type of bear though. So remember we talked about the sun bear. It's the smallest bear in the world. It's only 4 feet tall. It often stands bipedally, and it can be often misidentified as the orang pendek.
I said a bear. I said
So
bear.
I was looking for the sun bear, and I had already given you the answer. I'll give you a half point there. Do you remember why orangutan couldn't be an option?
Because they don't live on the island.
They do, but not in the area where orang pendek's sighted. So they're only like in a specific part of the island.
They've got a clan, and that's
So
it.
seeing an orangutan in that area would be like almost a cryptozoological discovery in and of itself. It would be like a different
Because
subtle
it's
species
not
difference.
endemic, even though it is very close.
Exactly. Okay, 7. I mean, I'll give you a half, I guess. I really thought you
I
were gonna...
got bear.
All right, I'll give you a full point.
No.
Amber gets a full...
I'll take a half.
0.75. All right. I guess these are way harder than I thought. I thought
They
I was making
are.
them... Okay, well, I'll give you some leeway on this next one, so you can... I'll take a few different versions of the answer.
Okay.
So number 8, villagers in the area of Kerinci are afraid of the orang pendek. If the orang pendek doesn't run away when they're encountered, they'll try frightening their onlookers by doing what? They do something specific. There's a few different options I'll accept here. So it's like...
Well, they're pretty small, so I would imagine they make themselves look bigger by like raising their arms and perhaps even going on their tippy toes.
Okay, so ding. I'll take that as an answer. So Jeremy Holden, the photographer who claimed to have seen orang pendek, talked about how he saw it and it would put its hands straight up in the air, almost like it was like freeze, like a gun point on it, clearly trying to look bigger.
Yeah.
But one of the other things that it would often do, this was what I had as like the main part of the answer. I would accept what you gave me though. Violently shaking trees or branches. They've even been known to uproot trees or break in half rattan vines, which are extremely thick. So basically just disturbing foliage around them like violently to scare away onlookers.
Just to make it seem as if they're bigger.
Yank out a tree, break a branch, whatever.
Dang,
But yeah, putting
that's
their
pretty
hands straight up in
strong.
the air was on
If
the
you
list.
yank
So-
out a tree, man, that's some...
Well, they've got extremely broad shoulders, right? Like they're very small, but they're buff little dudes. And it was kind of like Flores Man, which I actually didn't include in any of these questions. I was trying to work a way around how to do that. Who, of course, we know now was its cranial capacity was smaller than a chimpanzee, but it was actually extremely intelligent, and it was hunting pygmy elephants and Komodo dragons and using advanced tools and stuff like that, and would have been this little mega man, little 4 foot tall, way stronger than me, little mega man.
Lower center of gravity, sturdier, almost like the Menahune too, right? Where
Very
it's
much
like these
so.
like little... Like that kind of makes me think of dwarves again too. Hey?
Oh,
Where
yeah.
it's like they're the workers, and there's a reason that they're small. They're tough. They're well built.
They're rugged.
hardy.
Absolutely. And so, of course, that was one of the theories Jeff Meldrum put forward was
That's the guy I was thinking of, Jeff.
maybe
Yeah.
they are, in fact, one and the same was his quote
right
on the creature. Okay. Number 9. Well, you did good on that one. So number 9. Okay. I think you'll get this. So many of the early reports of the orang pendek came from European settlers of which country? So we had a whole bunch of quotes and like references of sightings from settlers of which European country in Indonesia?
The Dutch.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The Dutch. So Holland or the Netherlands. Okay. So yeah, the Dutch accept that too. So yeah, nice. That just reminds
I
me
thought
of
they were Danes.
That just reminds me of like the Jerry and George conversation where he's like, Holland is the Netherlands. Then who are the Dutch? All right. You're on number 10. Okay, we're already down to the wire here. This one is, I flipped this question around. So it's the same version, and you'll get that after I ask it here. But there's a lot of other similar creatures in the world. Let's just say that. So there are a lot of other small, hairy, bipedal hominids out there. And so for our point, name one other country with such creatures, and then a bonus point if you can give the name of the creature in that country. So originally I was going to say name a creature. That was a little tough. So there's a lot of other small bipedal hairy hominids out there. One of the
Well, can I use
countries.
Menehune? The Hawaiian?
I had Menehune down on here as like a half point bonus because they're more, first of all, they're not hairy particularly. And they're a little bit more mythical than the options I have. But you don't have to think of the name. You don't have to think. So like, the answer would have been Hawaii for that one. So like, don't have to think of the name. Think of
Hawaii's
a country.
not a country though.
I know, but like it's a place. That's why it's a 0.5.
I literally
answer.
just caught that myself.
I have four lists of countries here that have small bipedal hominids.
I'm gonna say Germany's a safe bet, even though I know they're not gonna be hairy though.
Yeah, you're just thinking.
I'm
thinking goblins and dwarves
elves
and stuff.
and things like that. Yeah, I know America has a small version. I know we've seen that, right?
I mean, for
the little people, the
yeah,
little men of America.
Yeah, there's definitely some indigenous legends that have small, hairy things.
Well, what were you thinking of?
I mean, for a hint, we referenced all of these in the episode. In the theories at the end.
Let's go to Australia. Let's go down under.
So Australia would be the Yowie, which is around 7 feet
That's
plus.
what I was thinking,
so
not
the
Australia.
Categorical opposite. The options I had here were Vietnam, where there's rock apes that were there were stories about attacking GIs during the Vietnam War. There was Cambodia and they're smaller than Yeti and Sasquatch. They're like regular human sized. There's the Cambodia and Laos, the Nguoi Rung, small forest people. There's also the Nitaweo of Sri Lanka.
So how am I supposed to remember those names, those terms?
Exactly. That's why I said all you had to guess was the country, and then it was a bonus point for the name.
Okay.
So,
well,
0-0. Nice try.
No, I think America counts because there are those small little
like Puckwudgies. Is that what you're thinking of? Something like that. We talked about them in the Goblin episode.
Was like I thought those were more bird-like.
I think you're. So what are you talking about then?
I don't know the name of them.
I can't remember what you're talking about.
I hope someone listening out there remembers us talking about this because this was definitely something that people have talked about. It's not like a goblin creature, but it's like these small versions of Sasquatch in Central America.
Well,
let's get Adam on it.
In North America.
We need the Pine Barrens expertise. Anyway.
All right. Well, I guess Amber thinks there's a lot more options I should have included on here. I'll give her a 0.5 on that, I suppose. So we've got out of a possible 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5.
Really?
Out of 11.
Okay.
So you beat me again.
6.5 versus 5.5.
Not too shabby.
Well, this has been fun.
Yeah, I guess I'd say that.
I think we're getting. This is going to be increasingly competitive as we just keep going.
Well, it definitely gets competitive when you argue my answers that I researched and you tell me that I'm wrong.
Well, but I'm trying to think outside the box here.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll just start making up my own answers for your answers next week.
Well, it's harder with things like Elisa Lam. You can't really like.
Yeah, no, it definitely. Well, no, it definitely is harder.
You're a cheeky little guy. You can get your way.
I almost never get my way, just for everyone listening out there.
Yeah.
So,
so he says.
We want to know how you guys did. Shoot us a message. Very, very, very curious, especially on some of that true crime stuff, because I know a lot of you guys out there enjoy the true crime.
And if anyone out there knows what that little man of America is, please let me know.
There's definitely more than one, I would say.
Yeah.
Anyway, hit us up.
Yeah.
Into the portal mailbox at gmail.com. Come follow us on social media. Hey, we broke the 1,000 mark on Instagram.
We did.
Come follow us on there if you don't already, and we'll follow you back. And yeah, it's at Into the Portal Podcast. So
I guess we're just going to continue this train. We've got some fun merch coming down the pipe too. I'm really excited about, but until that all hits the fan, we'll just keep on waiting.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. And until next time on Into the Portal.
Your gateway to the bizarre.
This podcast is a part of Straight Up Strange Productions. Discover more shows like this one at straightupstrange.com.